Where do we choose to start a freehand subject such as this stairway on the facade of the Palace of Schönbrunn in Vienna? I decided to start with the support second from the left because we can get a fairly clear view of the shape. There's nothing blocking it. And so it's, I figure, my best part of this scene to get a good, accurate, in proportion start. So having got the width, I now get the depth and just position all of this. You're watching this slightly faster than double time. So now I do the support to the left. And now I'm positioning this front support that has one of the lamps on it. And I'm not worrying about the curve or the connection. I'm just drawing it, if you like, in space in relation to where what I've already drawn is. And then I'll add the connecting lines after that. So as always, I'm aligning now what I draw with what I've already drawn. So just wanting to get the effect of the detail of this, the wrought iron and the wrought iron lamps. So now just positioning a few things. My gap's probably slightly too large there between that first pillar I drew and the bottom of the rail pillar, but never mind. So just adding some of the detailing to the lower part. Just add that. Ah, I see what I've done there. Do you see what I've done there? Ah, that makes a lot of sense to me now. Yep, what I did was that I mistook the edge of that leftmost pillar for a front, and therefore I had to put an edge onto it. I had to squeeze an edge into the gap which I'd left between the two. And again, because I'd left the gap that was slightly too wide, that encouraged me to mistake what I was looking at. So if that made sense to you. So what I've in effect visually done is I've twisted that leftmost pillar, that leftmost support. So now we're seeing it front and side on instead of pretty much just side on, which is how it is in the reference. So a suggestion of the decorative ironwork on that lamp, and now coming down. And because I've got the gap a little bit large between that first support I drew and the pillar at the base, there's slightly too long or too wide in the ironwork. So my staircase is being stretched slightly. It's not as compact as in the reference. And of course, you'll find this reference on my channel community page, so you can have a go drawing this yourself. So now we have the thing which I actually came most to grief with. I got the angles fine and the lines right, but I just took this staircase too wide across at the front. This was something I just had to eyeball there. I could reference how or where the steps ended in relation to what I'd drawn, but I couldn't reference how far along to take them. And I took them just a bit too far. So now my staircase splays open just a little bit too much. And that increases the size or the distance between things all the way down that right-hand side, because going too far across, that line is now longer. The curved diagonal line at the top of the stairs. But never mind. It's a drawing exercise, so I'm not going to get precious. Part of the reason we do these things is to see the sorts of errors we're likely to make so that we can be alert for them next time. They may not be the sorts of errors that someone else particularly makes, but they're ours and we need to know them, own them, and look out for them. So I'm doing these bottom two stairs now, which are slightly more decorative and certainly come out a lot further. And I realise that I've gone off the page, so I just adjust the camera, slide it along a bit. So now I start this rail that's coming down the other side, and I am aware that I seem to have a lot more railing to have to fill in than on the reference. But it's not the first time I've had to deal with something such as this. So firstly, work out where I'm going to put the white supports. And at this stage, I'm thinking, well, this is going to also affect aligning what goes behind this rail. The section of the rail where it shifts direction and goes back towards the right, towards the balcony over this particular doorway of the palace. But in the meantime, I'll work out how I'll split the difference, how I'll split the length that I have got. And I decide to put some sort of approximation, some sort of effect of the ironwork. Schönbrunn Palace has quite a distinctive pattern in its wrought iron railings that I try to give some hint of, which is this lattice effect on each side. When I'm drawing wrought iron patterns or any decorative pattern such as this, which is symmetrical, I tend to bounce from side to side, doing the same thing on each side, just flipping the symmetry. I find that helps me get a more balanced effect. Now trying to sort out what I'll do here with this section of the stairway that returns back the other direction. Still trying to align with what I've drawn, but aware that I do have a larger space here to fill now. So there's the second lamp, smaller than the first one because it's further away. And again, working out this decorative pattern. I decide that I'm not going to draw any of the palace behind. I'll just have this standing in space almost. Although I do some hatching underneath these sections. Working out what's happening now. So while I wouldn't say this is my most successful drawing, that's not to say it can't be for you. And again, I resisted the urge to redraw it because I think it's helpful to show that on any given day, we can have things work out for the better or not so much for the better. And it is important to get a sense of what sort of misjudgments we're likely to make, because we will make the same sorts of misjudgments consistently in all likelihood. And once we're aware of that, then we can sometimes allow for that in what we do. I know I have a tendency to make my domes too high when I'm positioning them, so I always pull it back slightly from what my first estimate of how high the dome will need to go is, because I've learned that I'll end up with a more accurate dome that way. And now just add in some contrast, and I got a bit confused with exactly where the roof line was under there, which by now doesn't surprise me at all with this drawing. But it is a great subject to draw. There are lots of interesting challenges in it, so why not have a go drawing it yourself? G'day, I'm Stephen Travers. Well, I love the Palace of Schönbrunn and I love its wrought iron. Maybe I didn't do the best justice to it, but look, whatever you're drawing and however you're drawing it, make sure you have fun. And I still had fun drawing this. I'll see you next time. Bye.